Hello, friends. It has been a while, but ladies and gentlemen, I got some good news. It is time for a speaker breakdown. And this time we're checking out a 3-minute thesis. So this is our speaker for today. Her name is Emily Johnston from the School of Pharmacy. And this is actually taking place in Australia. So let's see what a 3-minute thesis looks like in Australia. Shall we? Okay, I haven't even let her get a word out, but I want to comment on something that I like with a suggestion for improvement. She came in and right away, she actually looked very happy to be there. That is so rare. Because of nerves, most people come up very serious. She came up kind of happy. How can we go next level? Instead of looking at her slides, because she knows what's on it, if she would have looked to the audience as she was coming up, she wouldn't need to take this kind of moment at the beginning.
I came to Australia to study the deadliest animal in the world. Now, there may be some Australian audience members thinking, Struth, science has finally recognized the importance of the drop bears.
One of the things that I liked about what she's doing, she's starting off with a personal story. Notice that when you're nervous, it is hard to be funny. This is why I caution people around telling jokes. It's fine, but it's not going to help you. And chances are, you see it here, the joke didn't really hit that well. So now she's a little uncomfortable.
But I'm not studying drop bears, because around the world, by transmitting diseases like malaria and dengue fever, mosquitoes kill more than 1 million people every year, making them the deadliest animal on the planet.
Okay, what I loved about this is that the story led to something that's a little disconnected. Because here's what you have to remember. Every single person already saw the title. They know what she's there to talk about. So when she started off with the most dangerous animal, they didn't instantly make the association. Or they were thinking, is she going to try and say mosquitoes are the most dangerous? Either way, you're setting up that uncertainty that'll help you later on, because now we have to listen more to hear the answer.
Now, in Australia, the most common mosquito-borne disease is Ross River virus, and it occurs at high rates in some areas, but not others. My question is why? What is it about...
How cool would it have been if she would have been like, my question is, why? My research, and then goes into it. That's the perfect place for a pause.
If we can understand the environmental factors that contribute to disease transmission, then we can alter the environment or target our control efforts to prevent human infections.
Not bad, right? She's a little stiff, but every time she moves around a little bit, it does help her look more confident. If you've ever taken a workshop with me, I talk about doing the Simon Says or the YouTube framing. That's what she's kind of doing right here.
But to answer that question, I had to find out where the infected mosquitoes were in South Australia. And traditionally, testing mosquitoes for virus has always been difficult. So I used a new technique. It takes these cards.
Love what she's doing. Now that she's moving a little bit, she's feeling a little more relaxed in her research. She's going to be a little more fluid. I also like that she's going in a first-person perspective. She's telling you a story. People make stories much more complicated than they need to be. One of the easiest ways to think about it is just a first-person anecdote, using the first person, I did this, I did that. That's a good story.
Embedded with virus-preserving chemicals and coats them in honey. Mosquitoes will come to feed on the honey.
Okay, hold on. Let's just rewind this for just a sec to see what she was actually pointing at on the deck, because this, believe it or not, is important. Let's start here.
So I used a new technique. It takes these cards, which are embedded with virus-preserving chemicals, and coats them in honey. Mosquitoes will come to feed on the honey, and in the process, spit virus onto the card where it can...
The thing about this slide, and I'm not sure what the rules were of this 3-minute thesis, they're always a little bit different. But how much more powerful would it have been if we would have taken this? Because even now, you looking at this, I guarantee you haven't really read the title yet. Right? There's too much going on. Imagine if she would, at the minimum, taken the little circle with the blue sheet and then what it actually is on, made that its own slide. And then you can reveal on the map where she did it afterward.
Now, no one had ever used this technique in a broad-scale virus survey before, so I had to adapt it. I developed new traps and set them at over 100 field sites across South Australia.
That's when she should have transitioned to the slide with the map. Every single dot you see is one of the places I set a trap. Boom, now it has meaning.
And I captured over 20,000 hungry mosquitoes and let them feed on the card for a week before testing the cards for virus.
Whenever you use a number, one of the rules of numbers is to compare numbers against other numbers or to give numbers meaning. So what does 20,000 mosquitoes look like? Exactly. It's kind of hard to conceptualize it. So if she would have compared it If she would have used some sort of other number or some sort of an analogy to make us understand what that number meant, more powerful.
But science doesn't have to be beautiful. It has to be effective. And
love that. That's something that she, like right there when she said it, science doesn't have to be beautiful. It has to be effective. Boom. Another place for a pause.
These traps are proving to be our most sensitive method of detecting infected mosquitoes. I found 3 types of infection: Ross River virus, Barma forest virus.
What a great place to throw it. And what do you think we found? We found infection. How many infections did you think we find? Like a little question stack would have been very powerful there.
And Stratford virus, which has never before been found in South Australia.
Whoa, that needs a pause. And Stratford virus, which has never been found in Australia. Even 2 seconds. I know what you're thinking. She's got 3 minutes. That's fine. 2 seconds.
And I'm collecting publicly available data about the environment surrounding my traps, like the density of human housing, the biodiversity of mammals, and the ratio of green space to buildings.
The biodiversity, the houses, the ratio of green space to buildings, that needs a few examples to make it real. And the realer you can make it, the more I will care. So, for example, in one of my traps, we were in the middle of a residential neighborhood. 3 viruses in the middle of a residential neighborhood. For that just by itself instantly makes it way more important. Actual examples, it makes people care more because it becomes more real.
To see if any of those environmental factors can link these virus hotspots that I've shown here. But the most exciting part of my research so far has been the success of this method. Public health officials in Victoria, Queensland, and Western Australia have been in contact with us about implementing this technique for their surveillance next year.
That's specific, wonderful, because now here's the thing, she's not only making it more real, she's showing interest from potential investors and other stakeholders, which kind of says, hey, other people are thinking this important. Social proof. That sells her idea even more.
I used recycled milk cartons, pantyhose, and paper clips to make the traps.
Guess how much you think this cost to make? Well, I use a very tight budget. I actually use da-da-da-da. What a great question to throw out to re-engage your audience.
Each trap costs less than $1 and can be reused for the whole season. That was important to me because the majority of mosquito-borne disease risk happens in economically impoverished countries.
Ooh, that's really good. The less than $1 impoverished countries. And now I think she's about to go into an example, which was like 1, 2, 3, knockout.
India, for example, where about a quarter of the population lives on $1 a day, there are 33 million cases of dengue infection every year. With my low-budget virus surveillance and spatial analysis method, I can help any country, regardless of resources, find out where their deadliest animals occur, why they're there, and how we can stop them from infecting humans. Thanks.
Boom. I would have loved, that's so good. What a great ending. I can do A, B, and C. I think that was very powerful. I think she was actually very good as a speaker. She's not a professional speaker, and this is why I chose this. She is a researcher who's trying to make people care about her idea, and she did a very good job. One last little thing would have been nice, and I'm just going to back it up a little bit, is if she would have used a what-if statement to get a bit more of that emotional connection. She's got her information, but let's create a little bit of that emotional connection, making people care a bit more. And I'll show you where that is. Hold on.
Here. With my low-budget virus surveillance and spatial analysis.
So instead of saying, with my low-budget blah, 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 she goes, what if we knew where they were? What if we could prevent some of those infections? What if we knew where all the dangerous mosquitoes were carrying this virus? How many lives could we save? And then she gets back into her factual. Because remember, any good pitch has to incorporate both the factual, the intellectual, and the emotional. Yes, you need to communicate the problem, but you also have to make me care about it. So that is it for this speaker breakdown. Our speaker was Emily Johnston. Emily, I give you an 8.372 out of 10, which is a solid A. And I hope that you did this pitch more than once because what you're working on is very important. One of the tragedies in communication is that the most important ideas don't always get all the attention. But with more people like Emily, hopefully, the ideas that can really save the world will be the ideas that people care about. So thank you, Emily. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next speaker breakdown.